You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Chad O'Shields, who is a blogger and a watchdog and often a critic of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority. Rick Catlin is the New Hanover County Commissioner and serves on the board of that authority, and we're talking about some of the changes that may be in the air for the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority that is in charge of your water and sewer if you're in that district. All right, let's talk about rates. Without getting into too much detail, yet another rate increase is being proposed by the authority. I think this is like the third in a little over a year, maybe.
Right.
What's your response to that?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's going to be a 13% rate increase, and then with the capital improvement program, if we don't find a way to address some of the underlying issues with the city and the county, there's going to be a rate increase again and again.
And I was reading some reports. It said payments on a $6 million debt that the authority inherited from the city and county are one of the reasons given for the need for another rate increase. Well, that's surprising because that means it pre-existed, so this should have been like figured in or known.
Well, it's debt service for some projects that were underway or planned when the utility authority was formed.
But did the authority inherit a $6 million debt from?
No, they inherited a bigger debt than that.
A bigger.
That's just the payment. That's just the debt service.
I see.
The annual debt service on that, or the increase in the debt.
Shouldn't that have been factored into the plan from the beginning if they knew about it? It was there.
Well, I'd say it's just coming due now. So now they're saying, hey, we have to pay this bill. It's coming due.
They didn't know that it was going to come due?
Well, I think they probably knew it, but now the bill's come due. It's kind of like you buy something, the payment's not due for a year, and now they're saying, okay, now we have to start allocating and bringing in revenue to
so
make
operating
this
the way financial planners tell all of us not to operate. Don't pretend your debt's not there and wait till it comes due and then have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's coming due. And the thing that people need to realize too is, unless there's a drastic increase in revenue, there will be additional rate increases. That's kind of going to be at different levels, but there will be additional rate increases as well.
Yeah, Don,
yes.
in their defense, the economy was a lot stronger in the early projections.
Right.
And if we had continued on with the growth that we were having, we wouldn't have that debt service right now.
Okay.
So it wasn't that they just had blinders on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm also curious why it took a paid consultant to tell the authority a rate increase was needed to cover the costs.
Well, they're not. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to help us evaluate what type of structure we'll have in our billing structure, and whether we got a uniform rate or an inclining block rate. And the
so we put a excuse me for interrupting. We put an authority in place. We hire supposedly the best that we can hire, and then we need to go pay a consultant to tell the people that we hired to do this job what to do and how to do it.
Yeah, apparently that did happen before I was on the board, but and again, I mean, retrospective criticism is not necessarily productive, and so
otherwise you repeat the mistake.
Well, we'll try not to do that. But the interesting thing about it is when we're talking about whether it's a uniform rate structure or a inclining block structure, it reminds me of the passengers of the Titanic arguing over which end of the boat to run to. We're still going to get a rate increase, and everybody's going to feel pain in one way or the other.
And this is because when the city and county had it separately, it was subsidized and it wasn't maintained the way it needed to be. Is that the bottom line?
The rate was certainly subsidized, but the problem was essentially the county and the city, for the most part, the city had a uniform rate. When the authority was set up, there was many things in play, drought being one of them, and some people thought it was required, but put this uniform, this inclining block rate in place.
That's a tiered rate.
A tiered rate, right. You pay a higher price.
The more you use.
Right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
now.
This rate structure is so confusing. Not only can the public not understand it, but some board members don't understand it. So any adjustments require this consultant. So yeah, it's an additional cost. If we had a uniform rate, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't.
So you
have these
favor a
meetings.
uniform rate rather than a tiered rate?
I don't think we can go back to that right now in one step without inflicting tremendous pain over the very the conservation conscious users and the people that are on very fixed incomes. That it would cause going straight to uniform right now would cause them a lot of pain.
All right, because you'd have to everybody
go with
When
it.
he says a lot of pain, it's, you know, it is a few dollars. In other words, their bill, it looks bad on paper because it might say the bill. Everybody, our revenues have to go up. I think it's nearly 15%, 14% The truth is, Don, is that these lower levels, the persons that are paying just first-tier rates, their rates are actually being subsidized by these families. Now, it's important to realize these families are conserving water per person, using water at the same rate per person as a person maybe who's in the first tier. The only reason they pay first-tier rates is because there's only one or two people at the residence or whatever. So it's important to realize that this family of 5 or 6 are paying second, third-tier rates and are subsidizing these lower rates, and that's what the truth is.
How do you know how the rates of the authority in general compare to other operations of similar size?
Well, they show statistics at a particular usage, and that's a particular, you know, tier or whatever. You know, it all depends on who you pick to compare. If you pick this group, we might be high. If you pick this group, we might be low. Or you can pick a group, and we would be in the middle. It's all a you know, it depends on what groups you pick.
It does depend on what group you pick. The latest group, we're somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And I think how we compare, to me, is irrelevant because all these areas are different. It's what are we doing to hold down our costs? You know, just because somebody's paying twice as much as we do doesn't mean, hey, we need to raise our rates because what they're doing.
That's important because we are in a great recession, and New Hanover County needs to position itself not to lose customers, not to lose people that can't afford to live here, and to be able to make it an attractive place to live. So it doesn't matter what other communities are paying or are not paying. It matters what's important to us. We need to do our best.
Do you think the public is getting educated and beginning to understand what it's going to take to get this authority running in the way it needs to? And
yeah, we're making progress. I think
with public perception, you think?
I think what Chad's doing is helpful.
Yeah, I mean, people do need to know and understand, and it is a constant campaign, and you know, the authority certainly has to be. People have to know what they're doing, and that way they can say, hey, maybe we don't need to do this.
Transparency helps.
Exactly, transparency does.
We're out of time. Chad O'Shields, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Don. Enjoyed it.
It's too bad. We're just getting started.
We'll come back and do it again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Catlin.
Thank you.
Next week, dogs that serve. A trainer, a recipient, and a canine companion, Gabrielle. Next byline. I'll see you next week.
Is that Canines for Service?
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning as we explore the issues that concern you.